Let's start. But starting with just taking a big breath in and exhale. And taking a big breath in and exhale. And one more. And exhale, bringing chin to chest and very carefully rolling the head from side to side, just as long as your neck is feeling healthy and you're not in recovery from any pre-existing injuries. Not that I want anybody injuring themselves. I want to make sure that we keep everything nice and safe. And as we keep progressing through this term, you may find that the workouts get a little bit tougher. For those of you who have been working with me for a long time or have a strong Vinyasa practice, feel free to intensify, perhaps hold some poses a little longer if that feels okay. For those of you who do inversions, feeling free if you are feeling warm enough and safe enough to add them in. And opposite too, as we roll our shoulders back, just making sure that if you need to take breaks, that you take your breaks that you need. Feeling how good it feels just to roll the shoulders back, just getting a little bit of movement before we start. And reverse the opposite way. And big arms. Reach. And I do have double jointed elbows, so don't completely do everything I do. And reverse the opposite way. And just for a moment, just gently bringing elbows back, press the palms forward, getting that stretch to the wrists, then turning palms down and squeeze the shoulder blades back and press. In a moment, we're going to start to flow, but I just want to make sure we've got a little bit of movement in our upper body before we start. And one more. And exhale. So we are going to come to the top of our mat and let's take a big breath in. For those of you who'd like, on your exhale, bowing forward. Bringing fingertips towards your shins for a halfway lift. Exhale, bringing hands onto the ground. We are going to step it back into downward dog for our first time. And just making sure, feeling the shoulders pressing into the spine. Nice widespread fingertips and softening into your right knee. And coming up onto the balls of the feet, then softening into your left knee. And imagine pressing the floor away from your ears. Really feeling that lengthening of the spine as we walk through the feet, coming up onto the balls of the feet and down, taking big breaths in and big breath out. And a couple more. Feeling that stretch up the back. And if anybody has any heart conditions, you do not want to bring your head below your heart. So there are some modifications we can do for that. You can send me a message if that is something that you require. But in the meantime, what you can do is you can always, instead of coming all the way down, you can use your hands on the back of the chair, a couch, something just so your head stays in alignment. And on that note, feeling your ears between your arms. Whenever you're ready, let's soften into our knees, taking a big breath in. And on the exhale, jump, step, or float your feet forward. Let's inhale for a halfway lift, bringing fingertips to shins, belly button in to protect your spine. Exhale, relaxing down, soften your knees, and come all the way back up to standing. Bringing hands to heart and hands to side. Let's do one more like that. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhale, bowing down, just getting that movement in the body. Inhaling for a halfway lift, really focusing on your breath. Exhale, bringing hands to the ground, stepping it back into downward facing dog again. And if this is ever too much or we're holding too long, You can always bring your knees to the ground, keeping your hips up, which brings it into what we call puppy dog, which is a nice variation. Trying to make sure you engage your fingers and your thumb pads, making sure between your thumb and that first finger that it is not lifting. That helps give a little bit more stability to your wrists. And when you're ready, soften your knees, looking past your hands. Jump, step, or float your feet forward. Let's inhale for that halfway lift. Exhale, relaxing down, soften your knees, and coming all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands to hearts, hands to side. Let's flow it and adding on a bit more. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhale, bowing forward. Inhale for that halfway lift. This time we're going to bring hands onto the ground, jump, step, or float into plank. So if you'd like, you can have your knees on the ground, which I'll demo that first. We are going to soften into that Chaturanga. So keeping elbows towards the sides and lifting heart up. Feeling the engagement of your glutes, your abdomen. Protect your spine and your legs. Tuck your toes. Coming back into downward facing dog, walking through the feet. And when you're ready, we're going to bring it into a three-legged dog. So rooting into your right foot, picking up your left foot. And very carefully flex the foot and drawing circles with that leg. They may be very small to start, just to make sure our abdomen is engaged. We are supporting our spine, shoulder blades are melting down the back as we start to open up the hip. And as that feels stable and okay, allowing those circles to get a bit bigger, experimenting with your range of motion. And reverse those circles the other way, starting small to start. You may find it's easier to rotate the leg in one direction than another. And one more big breath, reaching the leg back on your exhale. Really hollow the belly as we take our knee towards our forehead. And inhale, extend back. And exhale, really hollow. And reach. And let's do one more. And reach, seeing if you can lift the leg a bit higher, this time stepping foot in between your hands, planting foot firmly down, knee directly over ankle, and extending arms up. And breathe, bringing it into a crescent lunge, reaching fingertips to the sky. If you feel the engagement of your abdomen, you may want to lengthen just a bit more and start to open up the heart if your back is feeling good. One more big breath on the exhale, bringing hands together, leaning forward. Let's take right elbow cross over that left leg. Option one is staying here. Two is picking up your back knee and breathe. Try not to grip the floor with the front foot. Trying to allow those toes to be wide and seeing if we can open our heart just a bit more as we take those deep breaths in and deep breath out. And imagine elongating your spine, feeling belly button pulling in just a bit more, just to get a little bit more of a curve in that twist. One more big breath on the exhale, bringing hands back. Let's sweep that left leg back and reaching it, bending your knee, stacking your hip, both hands equally on the ground. Taking a big breath in and exhaling through the mouth. And big breath in. And exhale through the mouth. And big breath in. And exhale through the mouth. And one more. And exhale, slowly unstack, reaching that foot up again, taking a big breath in on the exhale, hollowing the belly, bringing knee towards forehead again on that exhale. And inhale, reach back. And exhale, knee to forehead. Inhaling, reaching back, taking breaks if you need it, otherwise knee in. And extend back, stepping foot in between hands a second time. Planting foot, taking back knee down, reaching arm up and breathe. Feeling your heart reaching a little bit more towards the sky as long as the back is engaged, our abdomen is engaged, that traverse abdominis is supporting our spine, pulling up through pelvic floor. And one more big breath on the exhale, bringing hands together, second time twisting, same way. So taking right elbow over. Option one is staying here. Two is picking up back knee. This time, bringing back knee down to the ground. Reach it up, squeeze the glute at the top, and down, and reach, and down, and reach. Two more, down, and reach. Last one, and reach. If it feels okay to open up the arms to fly, please do. One more big breath, both hands down, transferring back, three-legged dog, bending knee, stacking hip. Taking a big breath in. If you'd like to add a lion's breath, cross your eyes and stick out your tongue on that exhale. And deep breath in. And exhaling. And one more. And slowly unstack both feet back onto the ground, coming back up, transferring up to high plank. Soften the elbows down through Chaturanga. Knees can be on the ground for this. Inhale into Cobra or coming up a little higher into the upward facing dog. Tuck your toes, stretching back into downward dog, coming back up high plank, down. Scooping hard up and tuck toes. And transferring to downward dog, picking up right foot. Flex the foot and drawing circles. If your wrists are getting sore, you can always bring both feet onto the ground for just a moment to restabilize and bring the forearms on the ground if you'd like. Allowing those circles to get a bit bigger. And reverse the other way. And reaching it back, taking a big breath in, knee to forehead, really hollow belly. Inhale, reach, checking the placement of your shoulders as well, making sure they're not up by your ears, but they are firmly supported into those pocket of muscles in the spine. On our next one, planting foot in between hands, taking back knee down, coming up, making sure front knee is directly over ankle. And breathe, reaching fingertips up. If your wrists are sore, you may want to interlace the fingers, pressing palms up. And breathe. Taking those big breaths in. And big breath out. One more big breath on the exhale, bringing palms together, coming into that twist, this time taking left elbow over to right side. If it feels okay to tuck back toes and lift, please do. Feeling belly button in, Really lengthening your spine as we breathe. And imagine elongating your spine just a bit more. On your exhale, slowly unwrap both hands onto the ground. Find that foundation transfer. We're sweeping that right leg back, bending knee, stacking hip, and breathing through side body. Both hands are equally on the ground. As we take those deep breaths in and deep breath out, and big breath in, and big breath out, and one more. And exhale, slowly unstack, reaching leg back, taking big breath in on the exhale, knee comes into forehead. And inhale, reach back, really making sure you're hollow. Feeling yourself engage, reach. And curl. And feeling that squeeze of your glute as you reach back. One more. And reach, this time stepping foot in between hands, planting it onto the ground. Finding that foundation again, reaching fingers up. Taking deep breaths in. And deep breath out. One more big breath, slowly bringing your hands towards each other, leaning forward. That's coming into that, taking left elbow over to right side, opening heart as we breathe. Taking big breaths in and big breath out. If it feels okay to bring back knee down and reach, and bringing it down and reach, bringing it down and reach, bringing it down and reach. Two more and reach. Last one and reach. Both hands onto the ground. When you're ready, transferring back leg, sweeping that right leg back, bending knees, stacking hip, and breathe. Big breath in and exhale. Two more and exhaling. Last one and exhale. Slowly unstack both feet onto the ground. Really carefully transferring back into high plank, really bringing chest forward. Soften elbows as we come down into Chaturanga. Inhale, lifting heart up. Tuck your toes. Stretching it back. Soften into both knees, looking past your hands. Jump, step, or float the feet forward. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhale, relaxing down. Soften your knees. Slowly coming all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands to heart, hands to side, and reach. Exhale, bowing forward. Inhaling for that halfway lift. Exhale, bringing hands onto the ground. Jump, step, or float. Feet back into plank, coming down through Chaturanga. Lifting heart up into upward facing dog. Shoulders away from ears, tuck toes. Stretching back into downward dog, picking up left leg. Taking a big breath in on the exhale, knee comes up to forehead. Inhale, reach back, and knee up to forehead. Inhale, reach back, knee up to forehead. Inhale, reach back. This time, knee comes to that left upper arm. Reach. Inhale, reach back. Left upper arm. Really feeling the engagement of the abdomen. One more. And reach, crossing it, taking left knee over to right side. Really pulling up through the pelvic floor. Feeling that knee coming in a little closer to the torso as we come into that twist. On the next one, stepping left foot in between, coming all the way up into a high lunge or a warrior one. So your pelvis is facing forward. Your back toes may or may not be. Turn slightly towards the right top corner of your mat as we breathe. Reaching arms up. Taking big breaths in and big breath out. And open the heart as we open the arms. And exhale, bringing them up. And reach into airplane, reaching arms back. And coming back up. And open. And bringing it up. Airplane. Reach. And open. And up. Keeping that bend and soft front knee. Reach back. One more. Up. Open. Reach. Back. And this time coming all the way up, straightening front knee. Circle your wrists. Option one, hands are on hips. You may need to shorten your stance. If not, interlace fingers, shoulders roll back, feeling that nice squeeze in between the shoulder blades. Hips are square, feeling front hip. Reaching back as back hip reaches forward. And feeling your heart starting to melt towards the ground. Seeing if you can look through the tops of your eyes. So it keeps your neck a little bit more in alignment, so it's not dropping down. Belly button still engaged, even if your tummy is touching your leg. And one more big breath, slowly coming back up, softening into front knee. Reaching it up into that warrior one, into that victory pose. Soften, checking those front toes again, making sure they are not gripping. Seeing if you can relax, which I promise you, it will make it easier to balance. And one more big breath on the exhale. Windmill the arms all the way down. Transfer, if you can, picking up the back foot. If it's hard to touch the ground, it is okay to be holding on to a wall or very gently or to a piece of furniture. For those of you where it feels okay to slowly start to reach, and if it's possible to reach towards your shin, coming into a standing split, please do. Keeping spine nice and long. Your body is going to want to torque and try and lift that back leg a little higher by keeping your hips square. If you can do that, that would be lovely. And one more big breath on the exhale, bringing hands back to the ground to stabilize, or on the wall if you're using a wall. Taking that back leg, soften both knees, and then extend. And soften both knees, and extend, lengthening both at the same time. Two more, soften, and lengthen. One more, soften, and lengthen. Stepping both feet back, coming back up into downward facing dog, coming all the way, high plank, down, through Chaturanga, scooping hard up, into upward facing dog. Tuck your toes, stretching back into downward dog, up to high plank, down. Inhaling, scooping up. Exhale, tuck toes, stretch it back. Let's pick up our right foot, taking a big breath in, knee to forehead. Inhale, reach, watching your shoulders, because sometimes as our body starts to get warm and our heart beats a little faster, sometimes we forget just in terms of that alignment. So just in case, on the next one, taking that right knee over to right upper arm. Inhale, reach it back, feel that squeeze of the glute as we reach back. And reach. And one more. And reach, bring it into that twist, crossing it over to left upper arm. Reach. And reach. One more. And reach. When you're ready, stepping foot in between hands, planting it nice and firm. Coming all the way up, hips are square. Reaching arms up. Again, your back foot may or may not be on the ground. You may or may not be able to get that heel down. If you can, lovely. If you can't, that's okay too. Each person's body is unique and our experience is different. So really honoring where you're at. If it's possible to square the hips, please do. And again, you may need to adjust that back foot. For me, I do have to keep mine more where my toes are facing more forward, just because otherwise I find it sometimes hurts my knee. And when you're ready, inhale, open chest. Exhale, arms come up. And inhale, airplane, reaching back. And inhale, coming back. Reach. And reach. Reach. And reach. Open. Up. Back. Up. Open. Up. Back. And returning them back up. And when you're ready, straightening front knee, circling your wrists. Again, if you need to shorten your stance, shortening your stance, taking your less dominant grip, shoulders roll back. If you need more of a stretch, you may need to interlace your fingers, trying to keep the heels of the hands together and feeling them reaching a little bit more away from the body. So you can feel this a little bit more through the shoulders to the chest, pulling up through the pelvic floor. And when you're ready, reaching your hips back, hips are square, as we allow ourselves to come forward. Taking those deep breaths in and deep breath out, still keeping that alignment of the spine by looking through the tops of the eyes as we breathe. And one more big breath. On your inhale, slowly coming back up, softening into that front knee, reaching your arms up as if you had strings on your fingertips, really reaching them up to the sky. Taking nice deep breath in and deep breath out. And one more big breath on the exhale, slowly coming back down, planting the hands, again, either on the floor as we transition, picking up the back foot, or it can be holding on to a chair, a wall. For those of you where standing split is in your practice, starting to work towards allowing the head to drop down and feeling head reaching towards the top of the foot. And if balance feels okay today, taking hands to gently wrap around the calf. And that is only if that is in your practice. You will still get benefit from this if your hands are on a wall or on furniture. One more big breath on the exhale. Soften both knees. And inhale, extend. And soften. Inhale, extend. And soften. Inhale, extend. One more. Soften. Inhale, extend, stepping both feet back, coming back to downward dog. If it feels okay, staying here is option one. Option two is adding a vinyasa, so coming forward, soften the knees. Elbows come in as we come through Chaturanga. Inhale, scooping heart up into upward facing dog and stretching back, coming forward again. Soften into the knees and reach, tuck, and up. Let's do one more. Forward, soften, lift, and tuck the toes. When you're ready, softening your knees. And when you're ready, jump, step, or float, feet forward. Inhaling for that halfway lift. Exhale, relaxing down. Soften your knees. Slowly coming all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands to heart and hands to side. Really breathing. Bringing it into mountain pose, palms facing and just shoulders up. Exhale, roll. And one more. And exhale, roll. When you're ready, toes are facing forward. We are going to soften into chair. So letting your knees soften, the hips reach back, belly buttons pulled in. So we're not hyperextending our back. I am going to turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing. So arms, option one is on the hips too, letting them reach. And breathe. If you look down, seeing if you can see your toes. So making sure the knees are far enough back because we want to make sure it's in our hips, in our glutes. This is a great one for anybody who is skiing. It's a good training and prep. Big breath in on the exhale, forward fold. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhale, relaxing down, soften your knees, jump, step, or float feet back into plank. When you are ready, stay here for a moment, bringing chest forward. Very carefully, let's bring right hand just underneath that shoulder, and we are going to bring it into a side plank. So option one is bringing it onto your elbow instead of your hand. Knee comes down. 2, leg is straightened, top leg comes forward. 3, it stacks. 4, 5, it's picking it up into a star. So seeing for you what feels best today. Pulling up through the front plane of the body. One more big breath on your exhale, transitioning to the other side. So again, take that time to find your foundation before coming all the way up in whichever variation feels best to you today. Making sure shoulder is firmly, especially that bottom one, is in that pocket of muscle in your spine. One more big breath on the exhale. Slowly unstack both hands on the ground, coming down through Chaturanga, scooping up hard. And exhale, tuck toes, stretching back into downward facing dog. Taking nice deep breaths in and deep breath out. And one more big breath. When you're ready, softening your knees, looking past your hands. Jump, step, or float your feet just onto the outsides of your hands. Softening down, coming into what we call Masala. So making sure the knees are actually following the lines of the toes. Shoulders roll back, breathing into your hips. If this is too intense for anybody, come all the way down to the ground. Taking shoulders back and taking your elbows just along your inner thighs as we breathe deeply into our low back, breathing into our hips, taking those deep breaths in and deep breath out. Feeling yourself breathing in through the bottoms of your feet, allowing that to ground. And one more big breath. When you're ready, hands come to the ground, straighten your legs, turn your toes forward. We are coming into a forward fold. And gently shifting your hips from side to side. If you'd like to relax your head, your neck, your shoulders, please, please, please do. And one more time, coming back into that very deep squat that we like to call Masala. So pivoting so toes are facing out. Again, whichever variation feels best for you, but if it feels okay just to soften the knees, letting yourself come down, please do. Again, readjust the upper body so belly button is pulled in to support your spine. Shoulders are rolled back. We want to allow the collarbone to just elongate just a bit more as we take those deep breaths in. And deep breath out. And as we breathe deep, imagine breathing in through the very base of your spine, all the way up your back, right to your crown. Taking in a bit more air, and on your exhale, breathing down along the front plane of the body. And inhaling all the way up the back. And exhaling. Bringing the palms together very carefully. Coming back up into that forward fold again. And gently shifting hips from side to side. Always knowing that this is your class, your time, your experience. So making any modifications you need to, taking breaks when you need to, intensifying when you need to. This is always your practice. But if it's been a while since you've done yoga, or you're new to it, be kind to yourself. I think with yoga, the whole thing about the tortoise winning the race because of slow and steady, just staying connected with your breath. As we build that strength, the balance in our body is so important, and especially through yoga. It's a lesson that I keep relearning every time I return to the mat. And slowly coming back to center, soften your knees, and this time let's roll up, vertebrae by vertebrae, bones stacking upon bones, reaching your arms all the way up, interlace, lifting up out of the hips, and just a few times, side to side, pulling in through the belly button. Making sure top arm, as we curve to one side, is stacked over the other. And coming back to center and lifting tailbone, lifting chest. Exhale, curl, pulling belly button in, and inhale, lift, and exhale, curl. And two more. And exhale, curl. Last one. And exhale, curl. Whenever you're ready, we are going to find our way down onto the mat. So your choice, whether you'd like to come all the way down, roll to your side, then roll onto your back, or if you'd like to find a nice tall seat. And then very carefully, sits bones on the ground, slowly rolling it down vertebrae by vertebrae. And feeling yourself, reaching arms, reaching legs to yawn. And stretch, feeling fresh, cool air coming in. Warm air coming out. Feeling your heartbeat against the floor through your back as we soften our arms, soften our knees, and gently hugging knees into chest. And if it feels okay, rocking from side to side, just feeling how good it feels to have your back, your neck, your shoulders being supported by the earth. And bringing both feet onto the ground, opening your arms out to the sides, and allow your knees to melt to the right, turning your head to the left. Breathing into that very, very, very gentle twist. Allowing your head, your neck, and shoulder, and your arms, hands to be supported by the earth, by seeing if you can relax any muscles you don't need to hold the shape. And on your inhale, slowly coming back through center and allowing your knees to melt the other way. Head rolls the opposite way from your knees. And on the inhale, slowly bringing knees back to center, extending legs up to the sky, reaching arms up to the sky, and taking a big breath in. On your exhale, shaking your arms, shaking your legs. Imagine shaking off any tension in your hands, your feet, your wrists, your ankles, your elbows, your knees, your hips, the shoulders, and all the areas in between. And then very carefully soften both knees, taking your hands to the inner thighs, calves, or to your toes as we find ourselves into what we call happy baby, feeling your low back pressed into the ground and very softly rocking from side to side if that feels okay to do so. Just massaging your back with the floor. And slowly finding our way to center, reaching arms, reaching legs. Let's bring it into a starfish as we return our arms and legs to the floor, reaching fingers and toes to the corners to yawn. And stretch, feeling fresh, cool air coming in. Warm air coming out. And feeling your hands and feet soften, elbows soften, shoulders, hips, muscles in our legs and arms. Through our neck and head, allowing the arms to return by our sides. Turning your palms up if you'd like to receive energy, or turning palms down to ground. Allowing your toes to melt towards the corners of your mat as we start to find ourselves into what we call Shavasana. For those of you who are at home who may want to grab a blanket or perhaps a pillow for underneath your knees or your head, just for a little bit more support, please do. And just taking a moment just to allow your eyes to wander. Just orienting yourself before we soften our gaze. And if it feels okay to close your eyes, please do. Allowing yourself just to focus on your breath. If it's possible to lengthen your breath out, please do. And hearing the waves of your breath as you take it in and out. As we find ourselves into what we call Shavasana. And feeling yourself taking a nice big breath in starting to feel movement returning to fingers, to toes, to hands and feet. If you'd like to reach your arms above your head, to yawn and stretch, please do. Feeling fresh, cool air coming in, warm air coming out. And softening your knees and rolling to your right side. Using your arms to guide you, slowly finding your way back up to a tall seat. And as our eyes slowly flutter open, if they've been closed, just taking a moment to gaze around the room, feeling yourself centered, feeling your sits bones on the ground as we feel the earth firmly underneath our feet. And when you're ready, let's take our arms, reach them all the way up to the sky on a big breath in. Taking your palms together on your exhales, we soften the elbows and bow, thanking yourself for taking this time to practice. And I want to thank you too. Namaste, everyone.